I'm going to share with you. So those 5 years, I just intensified my journeying. I began to cleanse my body. I began to see the results that would have on my level of depression and happiness, on my health and well-being, on my peace of mind, on my clarity, on my spiritual insights, to the point that I left my job in business and I retrained with a herbalist. And all the time I was just taking responsibility for absolutely everything that showed up in my reality. And there was a lot of challenges. There were a lot of challenges, you know, don't be fooled that it's been easy. But taking responsibility for each challenge, I'd sit with it and I'd be like, okay, I created this. Why? What's the insight? What's the gift? How do I take responsibility and return back to the present moment again? And each time, like, the reality and the creator and God would the universe would gift me something for each journey I undertook. And so that gave me the energy to continue. And I believe, yeah, it does that for all of us who take this responsibility with heart on this path. So I want to talk about 5D. It's so good we're talking about 5D because everyone's talking about 5G. So we're going to move it to 5D. And I wanted to think about, okay, how can I share? Look, I hope there's just something that resonates in this. I'm definitely not saying I know everything, obviously. But I am really happy to share from my heart, share from my experiences, from my insights. I have been, you know, intensely studying the spiritual path since 2004, and also making, you know, workshops, writing a lot about the process. So I hope there's something in here, my heart, thought, intention, that is of benefit or a reminder, even of something you already know. So I thought one way to kind of, you know, encapsulate 5D was I would just do the classic, take each letter, F-I-V-E-D, and talk about it and how it relates to 5D and the journey we're in. Okay, I'm going to have a sip of water. Okay, so if we start with 5D, we're going to start with the letter F. F, what is F and how does it relate to 5D? I was like, well, forgiveness. Yeah, forgive yourself. Forgive yourself. Forgive yourself. It's time to forgive ourselves. The journey, excusez-moi, into 5D, you know, it's like, I don't even use that word often myself. I call it a journey of awakening. I'd call it the journey of, you know, increasing our vibration. But today we're going to use 5D because that's the topic. The journey into 5D is a shift from an ego identity to a soul identity. And with the soul identity, there's the harmony coming in with divine love. There's a surrender to it and a service to it. Now, the ego is very much a separate self. So the ego is based on fear, the soul is based on love and compassion. So when we come into forgiveness, we're actually stepping, you see, into our soul self, our truer self, the light within. This identity is actually almost like a no one and nobody identity. It's a truer self beyond the story of personality. And it's a very beautiful place that goes deep and gives us a lot of good energy. So when we go into forgiving yourself, we might hear the words, but it's not so much about hearing the words, it's about feeling the words. I'm just taking a moment now just to really feel that. I was at a party in 2012 at Life Festival. It's like a techno dance festival. And I love dancing and meditating. I was trance dancing. And in came this awareness. You've never done anything wrong. Yeah, you've never done anything wrong. So if we look at it from this direction, that we've never done anything wrong, in 3D, we have fear-based reality and there's often a fear that we've done things wrong, we're not good enough. In 5D, we're coming into soul, we're coming into observer, into witness. And we realize we've never done anything wrong. We realize that the 3D is just in Maya. It's an illusion. It's having difficulty seeing clearly. And as a result, we have these experiences, and these experiences give us feedback. They help us open up our awakening, our understanding, and become more whole as a result. So forgiving ourselves and realizing we've never done anything wrong. And also that involves forgiving others and realizing whatever they've done is because they've been in Maya. They've been suffering, they are in a pattern of some sort as we have been, and not been seen clearly. So F, for forgiving ourselves, forgiving each other. When things happen and we're in a higher vibration, we recognize it's okay. That's okay. Everything is actually okay. I think that's okay is one of my favorite statements. That's okay. Because there's compassion there, there's understanding, there's ease, and there's a knowing that we are connected to something much greater. And that supports us, it choreographs the universe, and it brings us feedback. And that's all that's really going on all the time, some form of feedback. Yeah, so this also, brings us to releasing our judgment. Because often we're like, no, but that's wrong. That's wrong, how can you say that? That's wrong. It's like, well, if we feel that there's that judgment and it's really difficult to let go of, it's again to realise it's coming from that place of Maya where we perhaps can't see the full picture. Because if we could, we would see the patterns or the experiences that brought that person to that place or brought us to that place of action that we mightn't be proud of. So releasing the judgment, recognising Maya, and it births us into compassion. So compassion is a beautiful aspect of 5D existence and something that brings us into higher vibrational living. When I first got into compassion, I was on the spiritual path for years, and I was like looking at Buddhism and, compassion. And like for me, it was just a word at the time. And I really wanted to figure out what truly is compassion. And so I had to spend like 3 months researching compassion just to begin to be able to feel it. Because I honestly couldn't really feel it, Words, 3D, feelings, 5D, states of being, 5D. So I had to start at the very beginning and look up all the different definitions for compassion. And I was like, okay, compassion. And then I had to create my own and write about it and try and experience it personally. And I was like, okay, well, it's feeling love, even in challenging circumstances. Sometimes I find it really hard to love people, I spend a lot of time meditating, trying to love people, recognizing my blocks and working on clearing them. And then I found, compassion as the feeling state of being would melt my judgments. So compassion is definitely, I found, a pathway to freedom. So you can't love somebody, we can have compassion for ourselves and for others. And with that, there's a freedom. Because all those little judgments, those fears, they block our energy flow. And what we want to do is open back up. Open up, expand, connect with the loving light matrix around this planet, universe, and be present in the now. So compassion for I'm going to describe what it looks like. It looks like a white diamond light, like this, that surrounds anything, any problem. I bring this light of love, which is bigger than it, and it just melts it. And you see it's the state of being. It releases the old, births us into the present moment, 5D reality. And it's a practice. Everything I talk about here, I practice for hours and hours and weeks and months, and begins to become a bit more fluent. So welcoming in compassion, sitting with it, feeling it, and with that enjoying the freedom it brings. So that's F for, forgiving ourselves and entering forgiveness. All right, I. Being in our bodies. We want to be in 5D. We need to be in our bodies, We need to be in our bodies. Otherwise, we're in our heads. And when we're in our heads, we start thinking the whole time. We start second guessing ourselves. We start worrying. We start doubting. So to get into our bodies with 5D,